This episode of EduTechGuys is sponsored by Explore and the National STEM Challenge. Explore provides video, curriculum, and professional development services for grades 5 to 12 students, educators, and families. Explore Home provides engaging content like Crash Test World, Girl Rising, and Mr. B in 3, plus more. Explore Classroom provides a single platform for videos, lesson plans, and virtual professional development. Explore has partnered with the U.S. Department of Education to bring the first ever National STEM Challenge. Students in grades 6 to 12 submit real-world solutions to real-world problems for a chance to participate in the National STEM Festival. Find out more by visiting explore.com, that's EXPLR.com, and nationalstemchallenge.com.
On today's episode, the EduTech guys are real excited to have Kari Byron with Explore Media and the National STEM Challenge. Real exciting news coming to you next on this episode of the EduTech guys.
You're listening to the EduTech Guys, edutechguys.com. Hello and welcome to this episode of EduTech Guys. I'm David Henderson.
Hey, I'm Jeff Matlock.
Yeah, welcome to the show. This is awesome. Thank you so much for downloading, listening, checking out the episode, all the good stuff.
All the good stuff.
All the goods.
It's always good stuff. And today's going to be some really good stuff. Kari Byron and Explore Media with the National STEM Challenge. We're pretty excited about that one. Hey, but check us out on the web. Also, EduTech Guys. Just put us in Google. We're going to be there looking back at you. Follow us on all the social, Instagrams, Facebeaks, tweeters, X, whatever it's called now.
Facebeaks. That is great. I love that.
It's just a Facebook for birds.
Now that
bird lovers.
Ornithologists. Now that Twitter is X. Now and that's right. I'm saying, and they got rid of the blue bird. Yep. We can now do Facebeaks.
That's right. You'll find your favorite ornithologist on Facebeaks. Facebeaks.
This suddenly went NPR on us.
Hey, listen, it's going to be a great show. I'm really excited because the way we've been talking STEM and STEAM for 2 decades.
Oh yeah,
and we have for a long time. But it takes some folks like Kari Byron and Jenny Bukos to come in and really get a hold of people, and you're going to hear more in the interview about how they really get a hold of people and bug them, stalk them even, to make them understand the importance of this and how this touches every student and every child. It really does. I mean, it touches every household. It touches them because no matter where you live or what you do, one of your parents is doing a STEM job probably.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean,
or your grandparents or aunts or uncles, or it's one of those things.
And and I think what most people may not realize, or what a lot of people may not realize, is just how, when we say STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, how much of that actually comes into play into really, like you said, almost any job out there involves some form of that.
Right.
So it touches everybody, and then of course, a lot of the vernacular also includes A as a separate item for the arts. So you have STEAM, but that's all part of this. It's all a part of taking whatever it is you're doing in your, whatever career you have, whatever job you might have for now, however that works, there is one of those letters, at least one of those letters is coming into play as a part of what you're doing. And so for students to have exposure to this and to get their hands dirty, quite literally in some cases, in STEM, in STEAM, is phenomenal. And then of course the challenge is just going to blow you guys out of the water.
Oh yeah. This is a big deal, and it's just going to grow exponentially. So it's going to be really cool.
It's really cool because the other day, as we're recording this, we had the secretary for the Department of Education here in Arkansas come down and visited a couple of the campuses, and he was as he was walking around, one of the magnet programs that we have is digital journalism at middle school. And one of the things they were working on is they are putting together a video about the garden that they have at that campus. And they're growing various vegetables. They were doing summer / into fall vegetables, but it's getting ready to change over now to the winter vegetables.
Winter wheat.
Yeah, I'm not a horticulturalist, so I didn't even know that was a thing. There you go. If it all goes awry, I will know nothing about gardening, and will.
I love a good horror movie too, but growing foods is great.
That's right, exactly. Yeah. But it was awesome that you have these students who are learning digital media and learning things about B-roll and stand-up and all those types of concepts. But inside of that is the gardening aspect of it, and learning what are these different vegetables and what do they look like and when's a good time to grow them and what do they taste like, because that was one of the projects that they're doing with this garden is they're growing vegetables that some of these students generally probably don't have access to normally, and or maybe just have never tried, and so they're like, hey, we're going to try some squash and we're going to try some of this, and it's just kind of like it's I don't know, it's very cool to see all of this working together.
Yeah. And hopefully we're growing your interest in what's coming up in the next interview with Kari Byron. So I tell you what, we're going to take a quick break. And when we get right back, guess who's here? Kari Byron. Be right back after this.
This episode of EduTechGuys is sponsored by Explore. Explore provides video, curriculum, and professional development services for educators, families, and students in grades 5 through 12. Check out engaging content like Crash Test World, Mr. B in 3, and more. Find out more information by visiting explore.com, EXPLR.com. Hey, welcome to the show, Kari Byron. This is awesome. She's going to be talking about Explore Media and the National STEM Challenge. How you doing?
I'm doing great. This is such an exciting project for me, like more than a passion project. I feel like my whole life has led up to this moment.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Yes.
Like a culmination of everything you've been doing. Here we go. Now we're doing this. That's really cool.
All together, and it's such a big initiative. So let me tell you what it is.
Yes.
You guys are already familiar with Explore Media. We do short format videos with curriculum for the classroom. But in my travels, I was interviewing Secretary Cardona, the Secretary of Education. You know that. At South by Southwest EDU. And I was talking to him about my experience at the National Science Fair back during the Obama administration and how incredibly inspirational it was to me, and how I just wanted to be a part of that again, and what happened to it, and where is it, and how can I do it, and how can call me? I want to be a host again. And he said, it hasn't happened for one way or another for the last decade. And I became a little bit of a stalker, and for a year called his office like, hey, when are you going to do it? When are you going to do it? When are you going to do it? And finally I got a chance to interview him again at this last EDU. And he's like, yes, science fair, let's talk about it. So by the end of our conversation, we were so hyped on talking about STEM and the fact that, he went to school to become a mechanic, and that's a STEM job. And everybody doesn't understand how much STEM affects every life and how vast it actually is, that by the end of that conversation, I looked at him and I was like, Explore will produce the science fair. We'll do it. Like, give us the keys. We'll build the kingdom. We'll make it bigger. We'll make it better. We'll make it incredible. So I sat down with my partner, Jenny, who every idea is a good idea for us. So we're just like, okay, let's work backwards. How do we do this?
Yes.
We wanted to make it bigger, more wide-reaching, more accessible. So we're doing the National STEM Festival and Challenge. The National STEM Challenge is a nationwide challenge where kids from every state, territory, including, Washington, D.C., the BIE and the DOD schools, everybody submits their projects. Projects will be submitted on 3 PDF slides. Canva has donated templates for us so the kids have an easy way to put their slides together. This is for the 6th through the 12th grade. You can go to nationalstemchallenge.com to submit a project. Every project has to make the world a better place and tackle a real world challenge. These real world challenges have to make the world better for your people, your community, or the world at large. And we're doing them under 6 themes: environmental stewardship, future foods, health and medicine, powering the planet, space innovation, and tech for good. We feel like every one of these places has so much opportunity for kids to get creative on how to help their community, help the planet, or even just help the people that are around them. So the challenge is going to be it's open now. It'll be open till mid-November. And then a blind review process happens. We have got volunteers from every STEM industry within those categories to give real feedback to each student. So their projects don't just go into the ether. Like, somebody in that industry is going to look at their project and give them feedback. Then we're going to choose 4 kids from every state, territory, district. And we're going to fly them and a caretaker to DC for the National STEM Festival. We don't want money to be an issue, so we are flying them in from wherever they are. Wow. And we're putting up their hotel. They're going to have a whole weekend of festivities. And the National STEM Festival will be presented by Explore, but also the Department of Education. So I'm telling you, all of DC for the weekend of April 12th and 13th is having satellite events from the Smithsonian to the Kennedy Center, everywhere. Like, we are going to be all stemmed out all weekend. And these kids are going to have an opportunity to sit at round tables with politicians and thought leaders and actually be stakeholders, because they are so important. Their creativity and voices are our tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was quite an elevator pitch. That was a really long explanation.
Man, that's great, okay. That's good, though. That's good to get into that. I think it's amazing. Some of the folks you were talking about, some of the what you guys refer to as STEM ambassadors for each of those categories, and I mean, you've got some big name players in those arenas.
That's really exciting.
And having those folks, for all intents and purposes, working in conjunction with the students who will become the adults and leaders of the very near future, I think that is absolutely phenomenal. So can you talk a little bit about getting some of those folks to jump on board? And you can feel free to name drop. We're good with that.
So Explore is very, very tight wound with digital media in from social to actually our platform. So we have connections with all kinds of STEM ambassadors who are SciComm influencers in different fields. Andrew Zimmern from What's Eating America on MSNBC and a million other programs. And I can't even name them all. He's going to be one of our future food STEM ambassadors. That was an easy get. We're friends. We grabbed Justin Schaefer, aka Mr. Fascinate. We have somebody in every category. We have actual astronauts. I mean, Bobak Ferdowski. What?
Right.
That guy is huge. I mean, it just people who are really impactful that I think kids can look at and see a role model, but we also wanted to be as representative as possible of every voice geographically that we could find. So say Ariel Tweedo from Flying High Alaska. Yeah. She is an expert in mental health, and she is sort of our Alaska ambassador. I mean, she's an ambassador to everything. That girl travels around the world constantly, but we just really wanted kids to feel like they're seen. This whole thing is about critical thinking. It's about empathy, but it's also about giving kids confidence. That's the one thing I saw from so many science fairs I've been involved with, from the 3M Young Scientists to the White House Science Fair. There's this catalyst moment where a kid feels seen that can propel the trajectory of their entire life. They see themselves in STEM. They see they belong no matter where they come from. And it gives them that little boost so that they want to keep trying harder and they stay passionate and interested.
What's interesting is the 200 kids that are going to make it to DC. That's one thing, but the thousands of students who are going to realize that there's no project too small and have the opportunity to meet these ambassadors and to get to work on this. That's the big one. This first year is going to be a lot of fun, but the next year and the next year, it's just going to grow exponentially. It's going to be super awesome. I can't see how there's not a project too small. I mean, there really isn't a project too small. Submit it right now, and take that opportunity. That's just awesome. It's an awesome experience. You're exactly right.
I also want kids to really understand this isn't just for the genius kids that you see at every single science fair. This is about creativity. This really is about impact on your own community. So I've seen kids come up with projects about vertical farming when they live in a food desert in the inner city. Mm-hmm. That's an incredible project. That's something that is addressing a problem directly in their personal community, but can also be scaled to space innovation. Mm-hmm. Vertical farming is important in space innovation. It can cover several different things. Most kids have some sort of device. Your device, you can do any kind of data research. I saw a project where kids are actually recording the noise pollution in different parts of the community to see how it affects mental health. Oh, wow. I mean, it's really about creativity.
Well, and I think one of the things that we've sort of been dancing around, if you will, is the core and key difference between what used to be National Science Fair and what is the National STEM Festival. And I think that is such a very key component difference and really feeds into everything that we've been talking about in terms of the students. This is not the trifold science fair that many of us are very accustomed to even today. This is STEM. This is, as you mentioned before, this is food. This is mental health. This is, yes, space innovation and tech for good. Covers all of those things, but it's not, quote unquote, just the science part of STEM. It's all encompassing. And I think that is really what sets this apart from the previous iterations of the National Science Fair.
Well, I mean, the National Science Fair was incredible, and I am not throwing any shade over there, but it was done before we were so integrated with social media. So Explorer is also running a year-long digital content campaign that is it's obviously free. It's going to be on our platform. We're going to send camera people out to profile kids' projects because we want that community. We want a good idea in Minnesota to be seen by a kid in LA. I really want them to inspire each other because solution makers give hope to other solution makers. And I really feel the difference between success for the future and just kind of falling into the void is hope. I am a solution-based person. And every time I go on the road and profile innovators for something like Crash Test World, I just walk away with the sense of hope that fights the constant horrible news feed and doom spiral that you're constantly getting fed. And I just see the helpers, like Mr. Rogers said. I see the innovators, and I really want to create a complete community of STEM hope among young people and the people that they affect.
So I have to tell you a little bit about us. So our district, we're in Hope, Arkansas. So this is Hope Public Schools. And we are actually starting our magnet program is getting underway this year, and we just put in 2 new digital media magnet STEM classes, robotics, the coding, the whole bit. And hearing you talk about that's what is getting our kids real excited about. What do we video? There is so much to video. There is so much to video. There's so many stories to tell. David and I always like to say we like to help people tell their stories. And that's what this is all about, because through that story, that's just the ideas that blossom in other humans. And we just build from that, and we grow and we grow and we grow. So here in Hope Public Schools, we understand completely about hope. In fact, Hope for the Future is one of our big deals. Yeah. So I think that's really kind of cool. So it's kind of cool to have you on the show today.
That's so great. I know you guys share my ethos because you also are passionate about education. And we all know teachers have the hardest job. And if we can give them something fun and inspiring to just throw out there to the kids, I think that it makes their job just a little bit better. Yeah. I can't pay them more. I wish I could.
Yeah.
I really wish I could.
We're doing better in Arkansas. We're doing better in Arkansas.
We are doing better in Arkansas.
But that's really true.
And I want to expect Arkansas. I want to see a ton of submissions from Arkansas.
And it should. East was founded here. Do you know about the East program, the East Initiative?
Why don't you tell me more? We're on a podcast.
Well, I'll tell you about the East Initiative. It started as the Environmental and Satellite Technology Program, is what its name was, back in the late 90s at one school, Greenbrier, Arkansas. It's now encompassed over 400 and something schools around the nation. They get full labs. They get 3D printers, and they get all this great stuff. The teacher is a facilitator, and the students come up with projects, STEM-based. is what's going to happen with the National STEM Challenge. A few years back in Hot Springs, Arkansas, they have a flooding problem in Hot Springs, Arkansas, because of the underground tunnels and the all that good stuff. They had a flooding issue, and the Corps of Engineers worked on it for decades, couldn't figure it out. And a 11th grade student from Hot Springs High School figured it out. And they rebuilt the whole system underground. And these kids, we have elementary school kids throughout Arkansas in these programs building handicapped accessible pieces for their fellow students. They're building thumbs and hands and limbs out of 3D printing. So it's, what's happening here, what Explore Media and the National STEM Challenge, they're bringing that all together in a bigger, let's all get together and share this, because so many people don't know about the East Initiative or maybe the Conrad Challenge or all these things. So now let's really focus on these kids. And I think that's really awesome. That's what this means to me. Is like when you put national in front of it, it's like, okay, here we go. Mm-hmm. Rock and roll, baby. I'm really excited about that.
That is so cool. I think the reason I relate so hard to like kids that are junior in high school, like that, they don't have these boundaries on their creativity. They haven't been beaten down by life and where they think like, oh no, that could never work. Yeah. Like they think like Mythbusters. I remember being on set, and we had this myth about a boom lift that was turned into a catapult. And I remember it was early on, and I was sitting at this meeting, and there were no dumb ideas. And some of these ideas were wackadoo. We're just like, okay, we need to turn a boom lift into a catapult. All right, well, what if we get 4 containers from a shipping container yard, and we weld them and stack them, and we make a fulcrum? Yeah, we'll build this. We'll weld the tires to it, and then we'll pull it back with another grade all. And just, it was such an insane idea, but we engineered backwards, and it worked. I mean, sort of. I mean, we did it. Like it was something that we actually built because we didn't have the limitations. And I just really believe that 6th through 12th grade is the perfect time to just brainstorm the big ideas.
Yeah,
I agree. To listen to them more.
I love the idea of teachers becoming facilitators and letting the students dictate what they're going to learn. I think that is wonderful. In another life, I was a band director. And when I brought in 6th grade beginners, I never told them that they couldn't play something, because, that's what we do. Oh, you can't do that. It makes me think of there was a great interview with Matt Damon. He was talking about doing a thing with Tom Cruise, and Tom Cruise said, well, I'm going to do this, do this, and do this, and do this. And he said, but my safety guy said I couldn't do that. And so Matt said, well, what did you do? He said, well, I fired my safety guy. I got another safety guy. So that's the way I look at the way we should do things. It's like, there's no boundaries here. And I love that about you. And I love that about what we're talking about here. It's like no boundaries. Let's make this happen. And we can always work backwards and figure out the plan to get to that crazy idea that we have. I think that's just wonderful.
I mean, this is just year one. Right now is the hard work, is laying the foundation. Right now, Jenny and I are on the road just trying to get the word out. So tell everybody, because this year is going to be the first year, and it's already super exciting. I mean, if you could see the venues I've already walked through, everybody's getting on board. I mean, we've got corporate sponsors that are coming in to help fly the kids in. We've got organizations that are either STEM or STEM adjacent, like First Robotics and 4-H and like all these crazy clubs that are all coming in. Everybody wants to be a part of the positivity, and every time I talk to somebody, they're like, oh my God, I'm going to be your man on the ground in Maryland. I'm going back. I'm going to tell people. We're really trying to make this as fabulous as possible. But once we pull this off, I can't wait to see where this goes. 2024, 5, 6, 7. It's just going to get better and better.
I agree. Yeah, it's going to get crazy. Okay, so for those listening, let's hit this. We'll hit this top stuff again. National STEM Challenge. The entries are due by November 12th. And I love this, 8:59 p.m. Pacific time. So they're due the 12th. I want to talk about those themes one more time. Environmental stewardship, future foods, health and medicine, power the planet, space innovation, and tech for good. And those are awesome. I mean, it's really, people go, what? Don't those overlap? No, they don't overlap at all. Those are beautiful. And maybe they do overlap a little bit, but those are really awesome.
There's nothing to stop them from overlapping.
Yeah. And last but not least, who can enter? Individual 6th through 12th grade students attending a public, private, and home schools in the 50 U.S. states, the District of Columbia, and U.S. territories, including DODEA and BIE schools, are all eligible to enter. Thank you. That's awesome.
Yeah, basically every single student, 6th through 12th grade.
That's so cool.
And these projects are going to be very cool. I mean, I love hearing about the different ideas. So I'm excited to find out who they are and what they do and bring them to DC and let everybody see it. The expo is going to be bananas.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, we're going to share this like crazy and get it out on the airwaves and on the social media and amongst our schools. I can't wait to. In fact, we'll get this out there really tonight. In fact, we're going to knock this bad boy out
tonight as we're recording this. We're going to get this out.
So
get this word spread. This is going to be awesome.
Well, Kari,
NationalSTEMChallenge.com is where you can enter.
Thank you.
You can go to all the details, see all the STEM ambassadors, and we are on all the social medias. My favorite right now is Instagram. I feel like that's really flowing, but go find us. National STEM Festival. We're on everything. You can follow me because I just retweeted all. Anyway.
That's cool.
That's right.
Well, and I'm going to give Explorer Media, EXPLR Media. Check them out. Great stuff. Hey, Kari, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate this. Mwah!
Oh, that was awesome. Thank you so much to Kari for coming in and visiting with us, and sharing information about the National STEM Challenge.
Yeah, really, really amazing stuff. And if you want to find out more, don't forget, you can just go to National STEM Challenge on the web. Just look it up. You're going to find them. Really cool stuff. I would like to say there's no project too small. Every student that has an idea should download that Canva template, fill it out, get their 3-slide PDF going, and send it in. You never know till you try.
Right.
And you might have the answer we've all been looking for in your brain right now. So from the mouth of babes comes the answers. And so let's hope that really, I'm excited about it. It's going to be really cool. We got to find a way to get to DC in April. So
we're going. I don't care what it takes. I don't care what it is. We're going to be there. I'm just saying it right now.
It's like the Muppets when they get on the road. Down the road.
That's right. Actually, for us, it's going to be more like Toy Story, where they're crossing the street and getting run over by trucks. That's,
That is kind of us.
It is kind of us.
Ours is kind of like our luggage is in, Wisconsin, and we wind up in Florida, and our audio equipment ends up in DC. So we've had that happen before.
The old saying, all things considered, I'd rather be in Philadelphia. Let me tell you, we were there without luggage for 3 days.
Yeah.
All things considered, I don't want to be there.
Yeah, and we didn't take a wrong turn at Albuquerque.
No,
so I don't know what's going on with that.
Our luggage may have, though.
So hey, listen, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to the show, and it's been really great having Kari Byron on. I want to give a shout out to Jenny Bukos. Also, those two ladies are knocking out stuff like you wouldn't believe and really pushing the limits of STEM and what they do with Explore Media and kids in science and kids in education and STEM. It's just they're superheroes. And I like the fact that Kari said she feels like everything she's been doing has been leading up to this. Well, heck yeah, it has.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
That's just so your life work does usually end up, leading to this one, big deal. So, hey, listen, been a great show. Follow us on the web, EduTechGuys. Just look us up. We're on social media everywhere you're looking. I'm Jeff Madlock.
I'm David Henderson.
We'll catch you next time.
You've been listening to the EduTech Guys, edutechguys.com.